CELIO, which is a coalition of Mexican-American landowners in East Austin. We're Austin natives. I went to Zavala. Many of our families had a lot of their children go through all these three schools, Met, Zavala. And I think that one of the things that we need to be entertaining as we move along is the actual numbers that we have today. The actual data of people, like I mentioned at Mets, when I walk around this neighborhood, I see a lot of young families with baby carriages walking the neighborhood. We see Plaza Saltillo development coming up. We see apartments by Brooks coming up. So we see all this growth in population that's coming. Modernization of schools, yes, they need to be done. Whether they're, because again, Zavala, when Zavala was up, we wanted to have a new Zavala, but people wanted to keep it for historical purposes. Infrastructure, we're way behind compared to other schools. But in order for us, I think that we need to contribute all our energy in enhancing the quality of education and students that we have in our community today. Like I mentioned, we are looking at LULAC, going out and speaking to Senator Watson, Judge Eckhart, Mayor Adler, to encourage employees that work downtown to bring their children to these schools and fill these schools with their students. If you live in Cedar Park, you know the traffic and how long it takes to get in and out of Austin. So if we can provide this as a convenience to some of those homeowners in those areas that work downtown, have a bus go in the central area downtown, and from there have them fill these schools. Because again, Austin is Austin. We also have to deal with the reality of segregation and integration, like the lady mentioned before. Come on, guys, this is 2018. This is 2018. So I thank you for your service, and I hope that as we look forward, that we are more inclusive. And we see more parents today involved in the education of their kids than when I was going to school. And we cannot practice or have practices that discourages them from being engaged in the quality of education of their kids. Thank you.
Thank you. We are embarking on a long, painful struggle with the school board. Segregation is an attempt to separate the races in order to achieve supremacy. Segregation divides people by categorizing them in different groups, which causes needless tension and social tension. There is a quote by Cummings that reads, "It takes courage to grow up and become the person you really are." I went to an East Austin school. Before I went to the East Austin school, I attended a Montessori school where I was a shy, insecure girl. I remember before enrolling into Martin Junior High, my mother telling me that the reason I had to go to the Montessori school was to learn how people that weren't like me thought, but that now it was time for me to go to a school with people that were like me so that I could become the person that I was meant to be. And that's exactly what happened at Martin Junior High. I was in an environment where I felt comfortable, a place where I was able to become who I really am. I looked around and I saw people who looked and acted like me with similar last names. I guess what really makes me angry about this whole thing is that I know that if I were a woman from West Austin talking about her fond memories of her middle school, she wouldn't be faced with the same thing. She wouldn't have to hear conversations about segregation, equality, racism, and most importantly, she wouldn't have to see her people fighting for crumbs from the school board. This wouldn't happen to me if I had grown up in West Austin. It's time we take action and confront the school board about the blatant inequality. Everywhere you turn in East Austin, there's condos going up. They're closing down our schools. Next, they're going to be closing down our churches. This is wrong. There are a lot of things that the city could do differently to protect people like me, who have families with a long history in East Austin. There needs to be some kind of a grandfathered tax break on our taxes.